Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, thank you so much for checking in. I hope you're fine. I'm getting better. I've had a crazy cold, but it's been kind of brief. I mean, I was kicked on my butt, if you will, on Thursday, dead on Friday, and then yesterday was Saturday, and it was the worst day of all. Um, it was absolutely pouring rain. My sliding glass door was flooding. My dog door was flooding. God bless the horses and any outside animal. It was such a wreck. And then I was just finally going to lay down to rest. And my husband called in a panic and said, "Hey, my truck and trailer just got stuck in mud and I need you to come get me." And I was like, not only was the news saying, "Do not drive in this weather," but I knew it was going to be almost 2 hours of driving to get him. And I was like, what can I do? So I got in the car, tried to wake myself up, and prayed my way there. And I got him. He was muddy and filthy and exhausted beyond belief and frozen. And we made our way home very carefully. And then today, I knew we'd be getting up to try and go deal with that trailer again. And so I got up and I was like, praise God, I'm feeling better. I mean, certainly not well. It's kind of moved into my chest, but better. I mean, honestly, some of these things used to last for weeks. And now it's only like 4 or 5 days. So I'm really grateful for that. So anyway, we drove the 2 hours again. It was still raining and freezing. And what was interesting was I was sitting there and in the comfort of the car, to be fair. And he and this other man, they could have paid $500 for a tow truck, but he had a winch, which is like a small, I don't even know, I don't even have words right now, but anyway, a thick metal rope, if you will, that winds and hopefully pulls the truck out. And the winch was only good for 4,500 pounds, and the truck is, something like double that, for sure double that. I think it's like 9,800 pounds. But what they did was they put the winch on and they just pulled a few inches, got out, got their shovels, dug, pulled a few inches, got out, got their shovels, dug. And they just continued a couple inches at a time and then digging it back out. And they did that for about 20 feet. And finally, at 20 feet, with the winch being, half the amount of weight that it needed to be, they finally called it. But they were really proud of themselves. Like, they'd done their best with what they had. And they finally called it. And they were like, you know what? It's freezing, it's cold, we've done all we can, we've burned out the winch, and we need another plan. And so we went ahead and started driving 2 hours back. And while we were driving, we decided we were going to have to invest in a much larger winch. So we went and got a 9,000-pound winch, and luckily we were able to get a small amount of credit towards the original one, because we'd only used it once, and it burned out by all accounts. They agreed that it wasn't what it had purported to be. So anyway, we made a new plan. So my husband is going back down tomorrow with a double the power winch, and he has a plan to be successful and to get that truck out, because the truck is his livelihood, and it's just a lot. But he left much more hopeful today, with a small sense of accomplishment and a new plan than he had yesterday, when he was up nearly all night just devastated and worried about what he was going to do. And so, I was thinking how this kind of just mimics my experience with trying to adapt to a plant-based, non-animal product way of eating, and how in many ways it's a couple inches at a time, and then if I fall or slip, I dig myself back out and go a couple inches more and dig again, and sometimes have to stop completely for a moment and reassess and get a new plan. And certainly, like that winch only being half as much of the weight that it needed to be. To add other tools, whether it's another site or a successful person who already eats this way, or participating in something like the Tannyraw Reset, which I literally just finished today. And, I lost 6 pounds, a little more than 6 pounds, which, while other people certainly were more phenomenal than that and even way less than I do, I tried not to compare myself because normally I only lose about 3.5 pounds a month. And so that was almost twice of what I normally lose. And also, I was just thinking, I want to be able to rejoice in the smallest of successes and just know that I'm trying to see the whole picture. I'm seeing the big picture, and that even if it's only a few inches at a time, and then digging deeper, and that was kind of the symbolism of them digging into that mud, digging a little deeper, going a few more inches, digging a little deeper, and occasionally reassessing my plan, by maybe changing up my why or adding new tools like that, reset. I was just sitting there watching this process unfold and going, wow, why is that familiar? And I know why it's familiar, because it's exactly what I've been going through. And I loved that those guys had hope, They didn't succeed completely, but they had hope in the process of it, and feeling that they'd achieved, a measurable success in the 20 feet that they went. It was them against nature, and people don't win that often when it's against nature. And in some ways, that's the same thing. It's me against my natural tendencies, which are not plant-based, which are not vegan or raw vegan. And yet I continue to strive towards it and continue to dig in that mud and continue to inch along in hopes that it is the solution in the better way. And they certainly did that today in hopes that the solution would be to get that truck back on its way and get on with life. And I just loved that. I loved watching it because it was so familiar. It just gave me the courage to say yes to 4 more inches, yes to digging deeper, yes to adding tools as needed, yes to seeing my why and reassessing my why as needed. Anyway, what do you think about that? I love it when God presents the obvious and I actually see what he's talking about. So prayers for those guys tomorrow and getting that truck out of the mud. I will not be there. I'll be teaching, and I'm grateful that I'm far more well than I was on Friday, and that tomorrow's a fresh start. And for those who haven't, I highly recommend that Tannyraw Reset. Again, you can find it in any search engine. Put in Tannyraw, Tinnnyraw, or the Raw Reset, and Tannyraw, Tanya Murphy will come up. It's such a phenomenal experience, and it doesn't matter how many times you do it. It changes every time because of the people, because of their input, because of Tanny's commitment to constant growth and bettering of herself and obtaining knowledge, which she presents in such a fantastic, enthusiastic way. It's just contagious. So the next one's in March. Consider that. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Know that I love you, and until we talk again, my friends, best of all, be blessed.